Hello and welcome to Iceland. My name is Gylfi and this video focuses on what the general tourist information isn't always revealing about the solar eclipse in August 2026. And I'm doing this because to see it and film it won't be as easy as many would like you to think. So I will be speaking as a photographer, looking for ways to capture this on film. So let's start with the basics. The solar eclipse will be visible from the westernmost part of our island, and I'm linking to very accurate maps showing the duration from whatever location you pick. We have 3 regions to choose from, and actually many rural locations between them. And it is the northernmost location that has been pushed as the best place. And in my opinion, that approach is a big mistake for 3 reasons. First of all, tourists have to drive 6 hours from Reykjavik for the extra seconds. And I know that there are people who feel as it's worth it. And it is a fact that the road up there, it cannot handle the traffic. And this whole scenario might turn into chaos. And as for the Westfjords, they are what they are. Narrow fjords, steep mountains, all over the region. It is of course possible to work out a filming angle from some mountain road or by the mouth of some fjord, but chances are that someone else got the same idea and it will be troubles just to find a parking spot for a car. And those arguments, they don't even matter when we look at the next factor, which is the weather. And it looks to me as everyone has decided that coming to Iceland to see the solar eclipse is just as simple as checking into a hotel. And in a way, it is a bit ridiculous to look at this tourist sensation like as if the weather doesn't matter. But it does. And what are the odds? It so happens that I am in a Northern Light photography from time to time, which depends on the same elements. We don't need the clouds. And from the statistics alone, I'm afraid that I have some bad news. There is only a 25 to 30% chance that we will enjoy clear sky this day. And I'm not telling you to back out. This simply means that people have to plan accordingly, because the good news is that we can increase our chances by not being fooled into sticking to one predetermined position, which is the biggest mistake I see people do now. And the best advice I can give you is to do what I'm doing, because I'm investing a lot in this. I will be buying a smart telescope soon with a time-lapse function to capture the full eclipse. I'm also investing in solar filters for my Nikon cameras. So I'm serious about this. And I'm sure that I will always get something from this day. But from where? That decision has to wait. So let's talk about the weather statistics. There is not much difference between these 3 areas. The worst odds are on the Westfjords, as for cloud cover. But it's not much difference between Reykjanes Peninsula and Snæfellsnes Peninsula. And the difference between the best and worst location is less than 10%. And when I started to look into this, my first decision was definitely not go to the Westfjords, unless the weather forecast is literally shouting out that it is my only option. And I'm hoping that I can capture this from the Reykjanes Peninsula, which is by far the easiest location. My base station will be Reykjavik, and I will make my final decision on filming location no later than 3, perhaps 4 hours before the eclipse begins, which gives me enough time to drive to the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, little over 2 hours away from the city, and my final decision might be based on live satellite data. It is, however, possible that the Weather Service will see known weather patterns that will tell us with absolute certainty what will be going on 1 or 2 days before the big day. But I wouldn't bet on it. And this is something that I know from going after the Northern Lights, where satellite images are often the best option. And I cannot emphasize enough that it is very likely that your success will depend on flexibility. And I mean the flexibility to go changing locations at a short notice, just like we do when we go after the Northern Lights, which means that the worst idea you could get is to book a hotel now and just plan to stay there, no matter what, because we could so easily find ourselves in the situation that we just have to move around. And I can already see gold-digging stories piling up in the media, while the fact remains that the car park at the international airport is just as usable as many other locations. And it's actually a good place when it comes to the duration of the solar eclipse. And the 15-minute radius around the airport is likely where I might end up. So in my opinion, we have a classic example of overselling going on, or this idea to drive 12 hours back and forth from the Westfjords for only a few seconds more of full dimming. And I've been seeing some ugly cases in the media recently, like people who booked rooms a long time ago or long before the hotel owners realized that there would be this mood around this event. So they used the chance to cancel the reservation and offered the same room for some ridiculous price. So travelers who end up in a situation like that might get stuck with an airline ticket, useless because there are no hotels to be found. So don't make this trip too complicated. The area around the international airport is just fine. And I'm recommending that you use Reykjavík as a base station and not make a decision about the final location until it's absolutely clear how the weather looks. And the good news is that I've found tour companies online who are promoting this trip like they are promoting Northern Light hunting. And I would recommend such companies because they are, like me, realistic. And you can't find more experienced people to avoid the cloud cover than the tour companies who have been doing Northern Light trips. And that is one of the options we have because there is nothing simple about the climate of Iceland. To see the solar eclipse is not like checking into a hotel or renting a car. And despite the odds, at this time of year, I am at least optimistic enough myself to go investing in a new little gadget soon to make an attempt to time-lapse this with a smart telescope. So I believe that this is a doable task. And I hope this was helpful, and you can always use the comment section for questions, and I will do my best to answer them or use them to make another video about this. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from my home country, Iceland.